receiver was just drafted last year. Jameson Williams is suspended for 6 games indefinitely. I kind of jumped the gun on a little bit. I got more information about it, so I want to share my thoughts on that and see what you guys think. And of course, I got some draft sleepers with the draft week that was upon us. We got to talk about some draft picks. Now we know all the favorite guys there who are going to be, the top guys like CJ Stroud and all that, but who are going to be some other guys that may stand out for your team, or maybe your team might be in the mix for. So, like I always say, man, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. And welcome back in. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Happy Sunday. Big weekend out here in Las Vegas. We had a big fight last night, the Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis fight. Pretty lackluster, but hey, we're here to talk about NFL today. If you're in the comment section, hey, good morning to you. We already got some people in there. We got Ben. And what's up, man? Good morning. Hey, but if you haven't hit me up on YouTube, make sure you do so now. Subscribe to the show. Also, look me up on all my other social media platforms. And if anything, go to my Instagram, hit my link in the bio. It gives you all my access to everything Clutch Sports Talk related. And check me out on the grid as well. So, oh man, what a morning, man. What a morning here. Yeah, we got Tank. Yeah, he did his thing last night, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Ryan Garcia he wasn't ready. Oh my God, he wasn't ready, as Kevin Hart would say. Hey, what's up, Barry? Good morning, man. We got Ben in here. Good morning, man. Who's betting on the Lions this year? That's funny. But I'll get to that. Hey, good morning, David, man. Long time no see, man. How's the family doing? He said, morning, big homie. David's one of the day ones, man. Like, I don't even know, man. But shout out to him and his family, man. It's always good to see him on the live. I know he's a busy man working. So, Patrick, good morning, my dude. He says the Clutch Combine film studies have been sensational. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Trying to do big things around here, man. Yeah, he said, boy was definitely not ready. Yeah, he wasn't. After he took that knockdown in the second round, I think that was it for him. And he made a business decision in the 7th to not get up. Granted, though, for those who don't know the physiology and the anatomy of the body, man, you get hit in that liver, it's like a kill switch sometimes. And it could be a slow kill switch where you get hit there and like it takes seconds. And the next thing you know, you're like, ooh. It's like if you ever had a bad burrito or spicy food, you eat it and you're like, oh, damn. Oh, and then you just go down. So that's exactly what happened to Ryan Garcia. But nonetheless, he got paid. It is what it is. They're best friends now. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, we're here to talk a little bit about some NFL, man. And I need to ask everyone in the chat right now, how's the audio sounding? Because I always have problems with my audio. Hopefully that's sounding pretty good. I got a new camera I'm trying to work in here. So we'll see how that goes. But so far, mine's so good. But anyway, before we get further into the show, man, make sure you hit me up on the Grid Network, man. We got a live draft show on this Thursday, starting at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, which I believe is 7 Eastern Standard Time, if I'm not mistaken. We have a bunch of cast of the characters from the Grid Network. It's just a big list, man. We're gonna try to fill that room up with at least 10 people at some point. It's hosted by my guy Bryson Carver from the Carving Up podcast. So you definitely want to check that out, man. If you're tired of watching, the regular NFL network, ESPN, and you want to hear some true, raw, unadulterated, unfiltered comments about the draft picks, real-time reactions, you want to check that show out. It's going to be live on the Grid Network. Make sure you subscribe to that channel like right now, if you can. If not, do it after the show. But please do that. And it'll be dope. I'll be there. I'll stop by, obviously, and I'll show you guys my thoughts as well. So, all right, audio's crispy. Video looks pretty decent. I said we got a show to do, right? So let's get into it. Jalen Hurts, he got paid, man. He got the bag. He signed a 5-year contract extension for like $250 million, $179 million in guaranteed. Oh man, I don't know, man. Good for him. I mean, really, this is the thing with quarterbacks. Right now, he's the highest paid player in the National Football League until the next guy. Could be Lamar Jackson. We'll see on that, right? We're holding our breath on that one. What does this do now for the Philadelphia Eagles now that the quarterback has been paid? From what I understand, the deal is pretty team friendly. But it still would change some dynamics. Obviously, you still can't sign everybody. You can't keep everybody. The Eagles were already kind of at a deficit just because they lost a lot of talent, obviously. And I'm not saying they're going to be trash, but here's the thing. This is what gets me a lot of times too. So Jalen Hurts had one really, really good year, like really good. I'm not going to say his year was like, oh, he was on the up, he was on the come up. He had a sensational year. Now he missed a couple games down the stretch, just some injuries, but he had a sensational year, and they paid him. No problem. People don't have a problem with that. Almost won a Super Bowl, obviously. If I'm a fan of the Eagles and like a realistic fan, I'm concerned. He's getting paid, right? He had run really, really good year. Now, he had some other decent years. He's progressively gotten better each and every year. But you pay this man a lot of money, man. Is arguably one of the top 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks right now in the National Football League, for sure. Okay. But you pay a guy like that who they rely on him to run the football a lot. And you see what happens to running quarterbacks in the league. They get hurt. Okay, they get hurt. Now, you lost your OC. Your offense is still pretty much intact. Your offensive line is 1 year older. Lane Johnson's going to come back and run it back one more time. I believe they lost one of their guards or tackles, and you paid this guy a boatload of money. Now he's going to have all that weight on his shoulders. I know a guy very, very closely who got the bag, okay, and became a totally different player after he got the bag. And his name is Dak Prescott, okay. Now, I'm not trying to compare the two, but I will say I think Dak Prescott's beaten Jalen Hurts a couple more times than Jalen Hurts has beat Dak Prescott. But nonetheless, I digress. Now, he gets the money. He gets the bag. They back up the Briggs truck, right? Highest paid NFL player right now in the history. He may start to alter his game, right? He may start to think, you know what? I'm actually like a legitimate true quarterback. I got to sit back in the pocket. I got to start making throws. That's not Jalen Hurts' game. Now, if he's able to be smart and figure out, you know what, let me just keep doing what I'm doing and I'll be all right, then he may come back and have a sensational year again. But this is a big year for him going into this next season. It's a big year for him. It's a big year for the Eagles because they've invested so much money in him. And usually when you pay your quarterback like that, and rightfully so, I guess he deserves that. I mean, that's the going rate for a quarterback at these days, and it's only going to get higher, right? You look at all the guys that got paid. Kyler Murray, look what happened to him. Didn't make the playoffs. Okay, a bunch of guys get paid and they don't do anything. So we got a comment here. He says top 4 quarterback in the league right now. Nah, top 10 for sure. Dak be like, I'll give Jalen Hurts his flowers. Okay, no pun intended. He had a great year, and right now, going into this next season, he's got to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks, honestly, right now in the league. And I'm coming from a Cowboys fan. You see the hat, you know what colors I'm repping. But I gotta be objective, and of course, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. Carving it up says Hurts is incredibly effective with his legs, but more importantly, he showed an ability to make all the throws that will allow him to have a longer career than we initially thought. You know what? And he proved that in the Super Bowl because he did make some throws that I was like, oh, damn, I did not think he could make those throws. Ben Cornett says the Eagles had to do it. Otherwise, you risk losing him to another team. Once he becomes a free agent, it's a risk financially, but the Eagles have the short window for a championship right now. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And that's why when people get up in arms about quarterbacks, like, oh my God, you can't pay one. Like when Dak got paid, everyone's like, oh, he don't deserve it. But listen, who else were the Cowboys going to roll out there at some point? Now it's looking like we probably should roll out anybody else because the guy's been playing like a bum, the last couple, months of the season. So I don't know, man. But yeah, financially, I totally agree with you, Ben. Financially, you got to pay him, but it's a 50-50 because it can do a lot of good to the team and it can do a lot of harm to the team. There's only one team that's done this so far recently that's paid their quarterback and they've had success. Can anyone guess that team? Can't see the Chiefs, right? They paid Patrick Mahomes, right? A lot of money right now. A lot of it was front loaded, which is more team friendly, but they were still able to keep him happy. They don't even have all the talent that maybe Philly does, especially offensively now. They let Tyreek Hill go. They still have Travis Kelce. They made some other guys do their thing, and they ended up winning a Super Bowl, beating the Eagles. So, it can work, but it doesn't work a lot. So I feel like right now, the NFC East is a conundrum because here's the thing. The Cowboys are what the Cowboys are. They can be the best team in that division if they want to be, if Dak Prescott plays like a top-tier quarterback. But the problem is that he's not a top-tier quarterback at this moment, right? The Giants are going to be on the come up. They've added some pieces. We don't know what they're going to do in the draft, obviously. The Eagles will be right there. The Commanders, I ain't really worried about them because they don't even have a quarterback. So not really worried about them. Patrick says Philly has more of a leader and likable guy in their locker room than Carson Wentz when he was there. Their path to another Super Bowl run would be more difficult with the first. Yeah, of course, with the first place schedule, it's going to be tough. And now that we know that their defense really wasn't that great anyway, now so we'll see how that goes. And David says he agrees with Patrick from his earlier statement. Ben hops back in. Difference between Hurts and Kyler is that there was already a question. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, I agree with that because Kyler had a lot of baggage. He was kind of like he suffered from short man syndrome. He's always been the guy everywhere he goes, and he was a top baseball player, top NFL prospect, and now he got paid, and now he's just like whatever. Burrow about to key. Oh yeah, Burrow might be the next guy, right? And he deserves his money too because listen, for as much talent we think the Bengals have, he went into a situation where that organization was in a shambles. So, and same thing with Jalen Hurts. If I have to, put them together, how dare you question the greatness of Sam? I will. And I know Ben. Personally, he's a Carolina Tar Heel guy, and I think Sam Howell's a Tar Heel guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so maybe that's why. Maybe he knows. Maybe he has more insight. I'll have to get you on the show. Maybe we can talk about that. And maybe check out his show too, y'all. He's got a new podcast coming up. Let's Buck with Ben about Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You guys want to check that out as well. But back to the whole Eagles and Jalen Hurts thing. I'm not mad that he got his money. It doesn't matter to me because I don't know him, so he ain't paying my bills. So, but either way, I'm happy for him. But the Eagles, I feel like, will take a downturn, and I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate, when I post these clips about my Eagles takes. But listen, the Eagles are going to come down. They're going to come down. They had a great year. People don't realize the window for winning a championship in any league, and especially National Football League, is minuscule. It's a small window, and you got to cash in. And if you don't cash in, you end up like, some teams that you're like the Buffalo Bills. And their window is kind of like, it keeps popping. Well, I wouldn't say their window is closed all the way, but it's getting harder because you have other teams that are emerging right now. You still got Patrick Mahomes. You still got, Joe Burrow you got to deal with, you still got the rest of the guys in the AFC, but again, the Eagles, it's going to be a fight for them. It's going to be a fight. And I think Jalen Hurts is the right guy to get that type of money. I don't think from a leadership standpoint, he's not going to change the way he leads his team. I don't think it's going to change his demeanor. He's always been a very humble guy. If you think about his history, being pulled in the national championship game for Tua, then transferring to Oklahoma, coming in with second as a Heisman finalist, now comes into the NFL. People were like, why they draft him? And, now he is where he is. So that's a credit to him. So as much as I hate and despise the Eagles, I got to keep it real, but overall, when you pay people that amount of money, it's going to affect other areas of the organization from a financial standpoint. But the Eagles had no choice because who else are going to roll out there? Marcus Mariota? Hell no, they're not going to do that. We've been there, done that already. So they had to pay him. So please, anyone who's like, oh, quarterbacks and this and that, this guy didn't, just stop it. Just stop it. It is what it is. If that's what you want to pay for, if you're an organization, that's what you're going to pay for. And quarterbacks and tackles are the two most important players on any football team because you need the quarterback to deliver the ball, and you need your left tackle or your right tackle, depending on your quarterback's blind side, to protect them and keep them upright. So those are the two positions that I'm paying top dollar for. Everybody else, it is what it is. So that's all I got. So let me know what else you guys think. Of course, Ben. Yeah, no worries on the shout out, man. The difference between Jalen and Lamar is we didn't hear a word about Jalen's contract negotiations. That's a good point. It was announced until it was done. Lamar in Baltimore has been a rough outing. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And because that whole Jalen Hurts thing, it just kind of was like, it flew by night. You're working wherever you're at, you're doing what you're doing. And then next, boom, breaking news, he got paid. And we knew it was coming. We just didn't know it was going to come so soon. But, good on the Eagles. They want to make sure that's solidified. Out of everything else that's been happening to them, you lose like 7 or 8 defensive starters. You lose both your coordinators. You need some type of stability, and the offense should be okay with Jalen Hurts, and we'll see. But they're not going to be. They're not going to be garbage. I'm not saying that. I'm not throwing shade at them. They're not going to be garbage, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. The only saving grace for them is that the NFC is not that strong. There's probably only one other team that couldn't get in their way, and that's the Niners. But we'll see how they bounce back, what their quarterback situation will be like. But we'll talk about that later on in the next upcoming weeks, especially after the draft has finalized. So, and then I feel, and David says, I feel as if Lamar had an agent, the deal would have been done. Yeah, you know what? It could have been, I think, but there are other guys out there. There's I forgot the guys. He's is it Larry Tunsil? Larry Tunsil, he's the offensive tackle for the Houston Texans. He's been the highest paid tackle like 2 or 3 times. And you know what? He don't even have an agent, right? So there is some concern, and I know we're not talking about Lamar today, which we probably could talk about that guy every day. But real quick, the thing with him, the Ravens have some concern, and they're a little bit desperate too, but they are like, this guy's always hurt now. So they don't want to give him that money. And that's the difference between him and Jalen Hurts, is that Jalen Hurts, yeah, he did have the shoulder injury, yada, 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 but they feel like he's a different type of player than Lamar Jackson. And that's the reason why Lamar is just not getting paid. And it really isn't a market for him. No one is giving up anything. No one's giving up anything for him. So, and that's how that is. So, all right, let's, one last second. He says, David says, look at Jalen, first female agent to get the bag for his client, making him the, yep, he is. And good for them. Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports, that's the agency. I don't work for them. Maybe I should. I got the same name, right? So, all right. Moving on. Sorry. Something got stuck there. Anyway, staying on some quarterbacks. We got to talk about Tua Tagovailoa out of Miami Dolphins. He had some interesting comments this week. I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, he considered retirement. And if you guys saw one of my TikToks this week, I made one about him, expressing my concern. And on both sides, obviously from a player standpoint and from an organizational standpoint. Listen, anytime someone talks about, and we'll talk about retirement, we'll talk about players, that the R word starts being thrown out there, there's a good chance, man, they got one foot out the door. Okay. Because to play this sport, to play any type of professional sport, you got to be 100% all in. And with a guy like Tua, with his extensive injuries now, especially due to concussions, you got to be fearful for him, man. Like, honestly, man, like, I'm not a Dolphins fan like that, but I'm a people fan, and I like Tua. I don't think he's done anything wrong. He seems like a good guy, but man, he's one more hit away from being severely injured, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a medical professional, but this guy, man, he's had 2 or 3 concussions just in the calendar year. It's not looking good for him. And of course, you have to start pondering retirement because of that. Look at some NFL legends, some greats that concussions played a vital role in the reason why they ended up shortening their career. Troy Aikman, for all the Cowboys fans out there, Steve Young, guys like that. Like, concussions is no joke. And I had a guy on my YouTube page made a comment talking about I need to do my research. Like, I had to just go straight at the dude because he had no idea what the hell he was talking about. Yeah, can you die directly from a concussion? Yes and no, right? If you have any brain bleeds or any bleeding in the head or anything like that, yeah, you could die from that, fool. Duh. I think everyone knows that. But concussions, man, it's one of those. It's not like a sprained ankle or a broken arm where you can see visibly it healing. Concussions, you don't know, man, and it just lingers. Speaking from experience, I've had concussions when I played the game back in the day. When I served in the military and got blown up in an IED explosion, all right, in my convoy, man, it lasts, dude. It lasts for a while. Okay, so I think I know a little bit about concussions, given the fact I've treated them and I've actually had a couple of them. Maybe not to the severity of like Tua, but he's gonna have to make a decision for himself and his family. I don't see him playing no more than two years, if that. And if he goes down again this year, and I'm not wishing it on him, but there's a strong possibility that it's going to happen to him again, because once that concussion floodgate is open, it's done, man. And now your brain is going to be, it's more sensitive. It's more susceptible to further injuries. You see what's happened with these guys after they're done with their careers. They CTE, they're killing themselves, alcoholism, drug abuse, all kinds of things that are happening to them. So it may not have a direct factor on him right now, but down the line, it may cause some problems for him. Now, you look at it from an organizational standpoint. The Miami Dolphins, they got to take a quarterback this year. They have to, or they need to do something else because you can't. I mean, they got Teddy Bridgewater. I'll give them that, but he's always hurt too, right? If they're looking for the future, they're gonna have to take a quarterback at some point. Now, I don't know if what's the guy's name? Skyler Moore. I don't know what the quarterback, their backup is. I know he played at Kansas State. He started that playoff game that they lost to the Bills. They were in it, but he ain't it either. Okay, so you got a team that's ready to win right now. You want to talk about windows? Dolphins are ready to win right now. Top 5, top 6 in offensive efficiency. Defense ain't so bad, right? Got a good running game, good young offensive-minded coach. You know, you're in a weird division. I mean, they can compete with the Bills. We've seen that, obviously. Now, the Jets, we don't know about the Jets because they still don't have a quarterback. Skylar Thompson, that's his name, right? Thank you, Bryson. You know, so they're in a win mode right now. But you don't know what Tua is going to be like. Obviously, man, he's one more hit away. Like every time you watch a Dolphins game now, you're going to have to be like, oh man, did he get up from that? And, you know, here's the thing about Tua. He takes a lot of hits, too. That was his knock in college. That's why he got hurt in Alabama. And he's still taking hits in the NFL. And the hits don't get weaker. They only get stronger as you progress. So, I don't know, man. The Dolphins, to me, they're going to have to take quarterback for sure. For sure. Patrick says Miami needs to consider drafting a quarterback, making a run for Lamar. They need to prepare now versus later. That's a sign of his mental health. Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, the whole Lamar thing, like, I kind of touched base on that. No one wants to give up the king's ransom to get Lamar because you're giving him up. You're going to give up like some draft picks. You're going to have to pay him. And then you're going to be in the same situation that the Baltimore Ravens are in. Is he going to play a full season? And that's the problem with Lamar. If that was Patrick Mahomes, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Someone would have, the Chiefs would, obviously they did pay him, but let's just put Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, guys like that in the same, scenario. Those guys are getting snatched up just like that because there's really not much to worry about. So I don't know what move needs to be made for the Dolphins, but I do know one thing: a move needs to be made because Tua, God bless him. I wish him the best. I hope he doesn't get hurt or seriously hurt, but it ain't it, man. And honestly, I get it. He's a football player. They know what they're getting themselves into, but he's at a crossroads where he's just like, I don't know, man. And once you start having those doubts as a warrior, you can't have no doubts, man. When you're going into battle like that, you cannot have any doubts. You got to trust everything about you. And right now, he doesn't have that trust that he can probably come out a season unscathed. And that's a big problem, especially the guy that's leading your offense. So we'll have to wait and see. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll see. Let's see. Patrick says QB is the one position you got to have. If you don't know who he is by year 3, you got to make. Oh yeah. and honestly, year 3 for me, that's way overdue. Like, but in his situation is different. He got a better offensive minded coach, and you saw the numbers he was putting up, prior to the injuries last year. So he can play. I didn't think he could play, but he can play. But is he right up in the head? That's going to be the question. Is he right upstairs? So, all right, moving right along. We got the gambling man, Jameson Williams, Alabama standout. Was drafted last year in 2022 draft out of Alabama, wide receiver, was caught gambling. Now, initially, I thought he was gambling on the NFL, but then I did some further research, and he got caught gambling on college games. Now, that's a big no-no. That did violate the NFL's policy on sports betting. Now, that's a little insane to me. When you look at the NFL, right, and this is so crazy about it, how much they promote like BetMGM. You walk into NFL stadiums there, bet here, and hell, we got a team here in Vegas, right? You have Allegiant Stadium, and across the street is Mandalay Bay, and then what else? You got Luxor. You got all these other casinos that you can literally place bets as you're going to the game. Okay, we have our mobile apps, stuff like that. Now I get it. They don't want their players being involved in betting on the NFL itself. Now, we just seen a recent case of this of last season Calvin Ridley. He was suspended all of last year. Now he's been reinstated. And what happened with him was he was separated from the team, was not with the team, right? Because he had stepped away just to do his mental health, whatever. And unbeknown to him, he went and placed like a $200-300 bet on the Falcons to win. Mind you, he was not even on the field, was not even around the team, and they still got him for that. Okay, so if you're an NFL player, don't bet on anything. And if you do want to place a bet, don't do it yourself. Have one of your homies do it for you. Okay, at least be smart. Now, in the case of Jameson Williams, that really, to me, I don't think it's fair. Now, that's the reason why he only got 6 games and he didn't get suspended indefinitely like a couple other guys. Now, there were 2 other Lions players, I believe. There was a safety. I forgot. I think his last name was Moore, and they had another receiver, Cephas, who was also released, and their careers are in jeopardy at this point. So, and then there was one other guy from the Commanders who also got popped too, but the Commanders are holding on to him and see if they can be reinstated next year. David asks, or he says, I think it was because he made the bet. Well, yes, that's part of it too. So he made the bet inside an NFL facility. If he had gone down the block, yeah, it would have been good, right? And so, but he was probably thinking, it's college. I'm good. I'm in the National Football League. So what difference does it make? But obviously, it's one of those things where, when you get something new, you don't read the instruction manual and you start tinkering. You think you know what's wrong, and you mess something up. You're like, dang, I think I just voided the warranty. It's kind of that situation. You don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. And he didn't know. But I've honestly, man, I feel like the NFL, they can. The punishment is not nearly. It shouldn't be that severe. You got dudes beating up women, right? Getting 6 games. Betting on a college game that you have no involvement in per se, right? I don't know. Because you did it in a facility versus a dude that's beating up women on camera. Come on, NFL. Again, and this is just the hypocrisy. This is just another case in point that they need a governing body, right? To come up on legitimate rules. Should the guy be punished? I don't know. In this case, should he know the rule? I don't know. I don't know what classes they go through. Do they even talk about this type of stuff? Did he knowingly go into this bet knowing if I made the bet here on the facility that I would be punished? I don't know. Maybe a fine, maybe a 1-game suspension, but 6 games? Come on, man. Again, when you got dudes literally walking out on the street, whooping their woman's butt, right, on camera somewhere, and 6 games too. Like there's no, there's no scale. There's no scale. Yeah, people, you got dudes Ray Ricing women, and they getting 6 games. And I bet on a college game, 6 games. That don't make no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever to me. CJ Moore, that's the name of the guy, right? Yeah. Now his career is in jeopardy because he's gonna be out a year for sure. Depending on his talent, will teams want to take a run at him? But yeah, it's definitely an unfortunate situation. And initially, I thought the guy was betting on the NFL. So when I made my comment, I kind of was like, well, that's on me. That's on me. So I'll come out here and be like, I messed up on that. I didn't get the full story because the news broke so quick. I was like, oh man, another guy. And there was another guy, even before Calvin Ridley, Josh Shaw. I don't know if you guys know who he was. He also made an NFL. He placed a bet on the game that he was in. Obviously, his career is done, but we didn't really hear about him because no one cares about Josh Shaw. He played for the Cardinals at the time. So guys are doing it, but you got to be smart. And if you're going to make a bet, and if you don't, especially now, hopefully this will educate a lot more people, especially the guys that are in these locker rooms. Like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. But David says they should go through classes with the NFL, and they may go through something like that, but I don't know what's covered. I don't know what they do, that rookie symposium that they have for all the draftees. Maybe they talk about that. I don't know. But there's so many things you got to navigate as a professional athlete. So things that normal people can do, professional athletes can't. And so it's a different. Now, is that fair? No, it's not fair. But honestly, that's just how it is, man. If you want to be on that platform, you want to be where you are, you have to abide by certain rules. And unfortunately, he just got popped for something that he did not know about, and he had to pay the price. So Ripley He's on the Jacksonville Jaguars, David. Yeah, he's on Jack. So they're going to be tough. So I can't wait to break down the different teams when the draft is over. Oh, that's going to be a great, fun project for me. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy that as well. All right. Last topic of the day. We got the NFL draft again. Listen, we got the draft coming up on the Grid Network. So you want to make sure you check that out. It's going to be fun. It's going to be colorful, right? You guys know what scene that movie's from? 40-Year-Old Virgin, when he was talking to Andy, like, hey, you should come on through. It's going to have a few drinks. It's going to be colorful, right? But the Grid Network draft is going to be colorful. And my guy, Bryson Carver, if you don't know him, man, he's one of the best young talents out there. He's going to be moderating the draft for us, keeping all the Grid Gang guys in there, in line, right? Especially myself, because I could pop off at the mouth at any moment. But definitely check out that show. It's going to be great. But anyway, and it airs April 27th at 7:30 Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. When you guys let me know in the comment section. But anyway, I want to talk about some sleepers, right? So we got some guys that we already know that are some top dudes. We know the quarterbacks, we know the Will Andersons, we know those guys. But there's some guys out there that might be, well known, obviously, and of course I've been doing the clutch combine thing, so you guys have seen that. Oh. Camera's going in and out there. Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay. Not sure what's happening there. But anyway, we'll finish up the show here. But nonetheless, a couple guys that I want to keep you guys in mind. One guy that comes to mind is a safety out of University of Pitt, Brandon Hill. Now, he's undersized, but he has tremendous skill. And depending on what team that he goes to, a defensive coordinator would love to have him because of his athleticism, his power, his strength. But again, he's a little smaller, right? Kind of reminds me of like Bob Sanders back in the day. So we'll have to wait and see on him. Another guy who I like is a little bowling ball of a dude, man. His name is Dwayne McBride. He's out of the UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. He's like 5'9", 205 or 6 pounds. The dude is a bowling ball, right? Highly productive. Had like 20 or 19 touchdowns last year. Rushed for like 1,700 yards. He could be an every down back in the National Football because of his sheer size, right? But you're not hearing about a lot of them because he played at UAB, unfortunately, right? So that's another dude that you want to maybe consider for your team if you're looking for another running back, right? Maybe you pair him with another guy. That's another guy. And these guys are not going to be second, third round. You're talking about fourth, fifth kind of round, maybe third round. Another guy that comes to mind who's not getting a lot of love because this is a very all right. Looks like we lost the camera. Let's see what happens here. Let's do a quick switch out. One moment. We'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. Listen, that's live TV for you, man. Hey, I was testing out the new camera. It didn't work out, so now I got what I got. So let me just change my settings here real quick on something, and we'll get it going. So how embarrassing is that? But that's live TV for you. All right. So anyway, and we're almost done with the show. But like I said, listen, thanks for guys for hanging in there. We're almost out of here. All right. Let's get caught up on some comments here. We got Miami will not take a quarterback in the draft. Miami Dolphins have made too many egos to get it. Yeah. Hey, what's up? Let's talk sports with Richard Cole. Hey, man, appreciate you stopping by. You kind of caught me at a bad time. My camera just went out on me, so I got to fix that. But I had another camera ready to go. But yeah, you know what? He makes a good point with that, with the whole Dolphins thing. They should take a quarterback. I think most sensible people would say so. But will they? I don't know. Maybe they feel comfortable with what they got. David says, "You think the Cowboys are going to move up to grab a? You know what? Let me get through this segment and I'll double back on that because I have some thoughts on that. Okay." He also says, "This is like Space Jam when the Looney Tunes goes off camera and Mike's kids were doing like, dang, where'd he go? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you just entered the show, you're like, where's this clutch guy? Where the hell did he go? All right, all right, man. So anyway, as I digress, we were talking about some sleepers in this upcoming draft, obviously. So I was talking about Brandon Hill, a safety out of Pitt, Dwayne McBride out of UAB, and then a tight end that comes to mind that I think a lot of people don't really know about because he played at a smaller school in the SoCo conference is Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. Now he's a pretty good size guy. He's very athletic. I will say this about this particular draft class. The tight ends are overly athletic, uber athletic. But because, he should be a top target for most people. Guys, I know guys that are doing their work, that work for these teams. I don't think he'll be a sleeper. He'll be a sleeper to the average NFL fan because you don't know him. How many times they'd be like, hey man, I need to go home and watch the old Dominion game. You don't. I came across him because they were on TV. I forgot who they were playing this year, but they were playing a team, and I was like, oh wow, that guy really stands out, man. But he's another one of those athletic tight ends that you can use, especially in the National Football League. Not sure if his blocking skills, but definitely for sure somebody that you can use. All right, and some other guys. This other offensive lineman that comes to mind is an offensive lineman out of USC, Andrew Voorhees. Now he's hurt, so that's why his stock is plummeted. But when he is on, the guy is a great blocker. I mean, but he's coming off a knee injury. If a team does take him, a guy like that, it's a project. You're gonna have to give him time to get right. So it depends on where you pick him up. Now, if you grab him like in the 5th, 6th round, maybe he falls that far, or maybe someone does believe in him, and maybe the knee injury isn't as significant. Maybe you take him. Maybe you take him there, and you'll see what happens with that. Another guy I just did the other day, Jonathan Mingo, I did a clutch combine on. I like this guy. A slot receiver, kind of built like Anquan Bolden for those people out there who don't, Anquan Bolden was the truth out of Florida State. Possession type of guy, doesn't have the speed, will go up, make those tough catches, things of that nature. Another guy I did yesterday, Tank Dell, another receiver out of Houston. He's a walking touchdown. Now, he does have the drops, case of the drops, but definitely a talented dude. You can throw him back there in special teams. He can be a punt returner, kick returner. But he had 21 touchdowns in his last 2 seasons at the University of Houston. But 19 drops. That's a lot of drops. So those are my sleeper kind of guys. But just a few. But back to David's question, because you pose a good question, my dude. Let's put it up here for everyone to see before my camera goes out again. You think Cowboys should move up to grab Texas running back? Emoji. I don't know if they'll move up. Honestly, he shouldn't be. Most people think he won't be there at 26. But if he's there at 26, you take him. But I don't know if you need to move up to get him. I think if they do go running back, I like the Jahmyr Gibbs kid. But he's kind of built like not built like Tony Pollard, but they're kind of like the same guy. They're not big running backs. Cowboys, I feel like, can use like a Bijan Robinson. But honestly, personally, I don't think they should move up because what are you going to have to give up to get him? Okay. But I think at 26, I think there'll still be some guys on the draft board that they could actually use, and I think would be good. That would be good. So We'll have to wait and see. But no, I don't think the Cowboys should move up and get him. I think they're good right where they're at. That's my personal opinion. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, but the draft, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I think CJ Stroud's going number one. I think he's going number one. But I know some news was put out there actually pretty recently. His testing, Brady Quinn, talking trash about him. I don't know. It is what it is. I think Carolina Panthers have done their due diligence. They know what they want to do, and I think he's going to go number one. I think the Texans are going to still take a quarterback too, and maybe double back with some defense later on in the first round. So, but again, the draft is going to be fun, man. Make sure go over to the Grid Network, subscribe to that channel, man. Watch the show live. It's going to be good. You can have the draft up. You can have us up in the background, man. We got a bunch of guys. We got, like I told you, Bryson Carver's hosting. If you ever checked out his show, do so. He's like Monday. I forgot his days again, but he's like 3 times a week. This guy is grinding. So check out his show. I mean, we got Barry Grant from the All Even podcast. We got my guy, Patrick Brown. He does the Chaotic Sports and also the Forum for the Laker fans. We got the Command on Demand guy, Parnell, who does the Washington Commanders show. We got some new guys that are coming on. Devin, he's going to be doing, I forgot the name of his show, but he's a Baltimore Ravens guy. But they're new. So, and there's a host of other guys coming in, man. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good show. So make sure you guys will be all right. So, yeah, appreciate you, David. David is a real one, man. I appreciate him. All you guys are real, but David is my guy, man. David's my guy. So another awesome show, hermano. We'll catch you draft night. Appreciate you, man. And God bless you and your family, man. But, hey, but again, this is one of the most exciting times if you're a football fan because, the draft, anyone – your team can get a Hall of Famer. You just don't know. Or they can get some bust. But there's always going to be lots to talk about when it comes to the NFL draft, and rightfully so, and it should be. Because that night, everyone is a Super Bowl contender that night. I don't care what you say, even if your team sucks. You got everybody's going to be a Super Bowl winner. So, but anyway. That's all I got, man. I got a lot of technical difficulties today, man. I'm gonna get that right next week for you guys. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there for those brief moments that I was down for a second. But hey, nonetheless, it's been a great show. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys Sunday for next weekend. And make sure hit on my TikToks, man. Check out my Clutch Combines. Like and subscribe to that, man. Hit that heart button, man. I'm trying to build it out, but that's all I got. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys later. Be blessed. Peace.